Welcome back. This is Starkers Chats at Digital DNA. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the last interview of the day, and we are chatting to Henry from Glandore. Henry, thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
Awesome. And you're not from Belfast, so you got to tell us if you think, is this your first time at Digital DNA?
No, I think I was here in 2019.
Excellent.
The last time it was on in person.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant. Yeah, that was my first venture to this event.
Excellent. And how are you finding it this year so far?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's great to be here. Great to be here in person. Great for us. We work with a number of startups in the ecosystem of Northern Ireland. And it's great to see what's coming down the line. There's a couple of prospects here as well that we're hoping to get into our buildings. So it's great.
No, wicked. And right, so let's start on that basis as well. Tell us a little bit more about Glandore and what you guys do and deliver on. Yeah,
so we're a flexible workspace provider. We've been in operation for 21 years. We're a family business, so our MD Michael Kelly and his three daughters, Fiona, Claire and Rebecca, run the business. We've been in Belfast on Arta Street with two buildings, Arta House and Arta Place. We've been here since 2006. We've 7 buildings in Dublin. We've been there since 2001. And a building in Cork on Laps Quay. We've been there since November 2018.
Excellent.
So quite a large portfolio. We work with a lot of kind of FDIs, so US and UK businesses landing in Ireland, whether they're established multinationals or startups or funds or private equity firms or law firms, and we work with the same type of businesses here in Belfast.
Yeah.
A lot of tech business in Belfast, which is great. It's coming in from the US or the UK. And also kind of a lot of startup business here, which is kind of the favourite part of what we do.
And what I was going to say is obviously shout out to Niall, obviously from the Belfast team as well. And what I noticed with Glandore, and you do this not just in Belfast but in Cork and Dublin as well, is you seem very much involved in the community management of the people within your office. It doesn't feel like they're just taking space. It feels like there's a community that's built around that in terms of obviously what you offer.
Yeah, very much so. That's kind of one of the core aspects of the business. Is we call it Glandore Network, and we've an alumni network under that umbrella as well. So we like to connect. So we've had the likes of Facebook, Twitter, Dropbox, Asana, HubSpot had an office with us here. Wolfspeed are in Belfast. So we've a lot of kind of established tech companies whose senior management are part of our alumni network, who we bring back to events to mingle with the startups that we have in our buildings and under our roofs to try and help their business grow. That's the kind of core part of it. It's to be more than just kind of walls, windows, desks and chairs, to provide a space to kind of help them grow, help them expand, help them kind of find talent, help them find investment. So all of the things that a lot of other organisations do in Northern Ireland, but where we can do it is inside our four walls and kind of bring everyone together on a regular basis to help that.
How much do you think the last 2 or 3 years of the pandemic and obviously lockdown and then coming out of lockdown and the way that we're working changing, how much do you feel that you've adapted your business in a sense to that, the new needs of that customer?
Yeah, well, we had to adapt quite quickly during the pandemic, so our network kind of became virtual. So a lot of virtual panels, a lot of contributor series online. We kind of retrofitted a number of our spaces into collaboration spaces, so teams could come in once a month, once a week, as opposed to being in every day because restrictions didn't allow them to do so. So we kind of pivoted quite quickly. A lot of our member businesses here in Belfast and in Dublin and Cork were in all the way throughout the pandemic. Kind of regulations and the industries they were in meant that they had to be present.
Yeah.
So we kind of, our operations teams were ever present. They were in. They didn't have a remote day throughout the whole pandemic, because our doors were always open. So we just pivoted in that sense and changed kind of layout of some of the spaces. At the moment, we're helping kind of our member business and prospects reconfigure the space. So the need for a fully open plan, all desks kind of spaces is gone. They want kind of, if you're talking about a company that has 20 people, they may take 10 desks and they build a collaboration space, an executive suite or maybe a meeting room, and then they'll rotate their people in and out on a hybrid basis and manage it themselves, and we'll help them do so. So it's changed in that sense.
And do you feel like the kind of era of the hot desking, in a sense, you know, that ability just to jump on one desk and then change into another desk the next day, do you think that's evolving slightly as well?
That's changing. Well, we're seeing it changing for our business. There are kind of incubator flex workspace providers that will always be predominantly co-working. The core of our business is private office, but we always have co-working, but it's dedicated desks, so it's not hot desking. It's kind of, you pay a monthly fee for a desk in our co-working space, but that's your desk, and you have your own pedestal and own space. But we're finding that more and more companies now, even startups that are 1 or 2 people, they want private office. Even if it's one person, they want their own office with their own under lock and key or under fob, as opposed to being out in the mix. They'll use the network events to get in the mix, but they want the privacy now, as opposed to being all in a mesh of hot desking. So it was totally different back in 2019. It's totally changed now again. So it's gone back to kind of emphasis on privacy and kind of one's own space, and then the ability to mingle in collaboration spaces when you want to, but not all the time.
And finally, like obviously a piece of advice maybe for a founder who's kind of edging on the side of caution at the moment, maybe sitting at home thinking about, well, should I stay here for a while, or is considering hiring and maybe having a base. What type of things would they need to consider or think about?
Not a huge amount. Like once their business is registered in whatever city they're kind of, or whatever country they're operating in, they can start with a virtual office suite. So that gives them a business address, it gives them post forwarding, call services, scanning services, and it gives them access to our network. Or else they could start with a dedicated desk or a small private office. But my advice is to just get into a space, get into a network, and be present. It doesn't have to be 5 days a week, but be present a number of days a week, because the networks are kicking off again. People are meeting, they're collaborating, they're sourcing funding, they're sourcing mentorship. And if you're stuck at home at the moment and going into the future, it's going to be very hard to do that, because not everyone now has the time to be on a laptop on a screen, because they're out and about themselves. So it's getting in the mix.
I think that's the one thing I've observed from being back in the room here at DNA as well, is the feeling of that community and that kind of like the unity that you get from obviously being next to someone and having a chat with them, which we did unfortunately lose during the pandemic. And obviously it's great just to be back at events, and obviously it might be that someone works in an office 2 days a week and works from home 3, but anyone who says the office is dead is lying.
Oh no. It may be the traditional sense where everyone's in a kind of rows of desks, chained to the desk for 8 hours a day. That's gone. But the collaborative importance of bringing people together in person is not gone, and that's why the nature of workspace is changing, but the need for workspace is ever present and will be more and more important as we go, because it's just learning by osmosis for junior staff, it's collaboration for teams, it's leaders having their teams in-house so they can mentor and be present and help them progress, and all those things that you're just not getting remote, and it's going to move beyond kind of the ability for that to happen.
Well, Henry, thank you ever so much to Glandore, and obviously
thank you.
pass our thanks on to Niall as well. Niall's been very supportive of startups and the ecosystem within Northern Ireland, and always supporting and being at events. So thank you to you guys for supporting the Startup Zone at Digital DNA this year, and obviously we'll be back for more Startup Chats tomorrow.